got a leak on the trailer, and that happens to be the culprit. So the B&B Moulders hot water heater bypass valve is leaking. So we took this off to the access panel, and you can't see much. But around behind tells the tale. So from behind, it is got threaded connections into it, but this is solid plastic. It doesn't turn, so the only way to get this out of here is to either cut off the PEX fittings clamps and redo that, or to actually cut the valve body out and do a temporary fix. So this repair store here in town, parts store, doesn't have the part in stock, so we're going to do a temporary bypass of it. But we're just going to cut it off here, here, and here, and then we'll plumb in a semi-temporary permanent fix to this. So anyway, we'll update the progress here in a minute. Okay, we got it out. As you see here, I cut off both these sides, on this side and that side, with just a saber saw. Nothing tricky. If you want to take your time with a hacksaw blade and spend a few minutes with a hacksaw blade, you could probably do the same, but it only takes about 20 seconds with one of those saber saws. But my valve, it's tough to tell because of all the marring back here off the back, but it's split up in here. Somewhere up in this area right here, it's split, and that's what was spraying out. You can kind of see part of the split right there. It's hard to see with that, but that's where it actually split in that body, and so you have to replace the whole valve. You can't patch that. So anyway, that's how we got it out, as we cut it off on both sides of these, and I just unthreaded this off the PEX. That way I don't have to take those PEX clamps off. And now we'll get on there and do our temporary bypass. The important thing is the flow of the valve and which way this thing is operating. You can see down inside the valve here. So on the right hand side of this valve, this is open when it's in normal conditions, and this side is blocked off in normal conditions. The left side's blocked off, so that's in normal. And when it goes into bypass with the valve up, just like bypass, now the right hand side is closed off and it opens to the bypass side, which is the left side. And if you can't see that very easily, you can verify it with just some air. So you can verify it there with my air hose. But the air is coming out this side now. And when it's in normal position, now the air in normal position exits this side and not this side. So that's how it works. So it's just a little two-way valve. It's not a straight T. So the bypass works by, in normal conditions, the water comes in the bottom of the valve from your feed and exits out this way to your water heater. And then when you put it in bypass, it shuts off this side, so water flows from your feed and then through the bypass line the opposite way of your water heater and around your water heater. So that's how the valve works. So when you're plumbing in your temporary or permanent fix, keep that in mind, that water needs to go in from your feed and then through the valve off to the right hand side is where it's going to head to your water heater. Okay, so when I originally found the leak, I knew I was going to have to do all this, so I went and just got a bunch of supplies at Lowe's Home Improvement. Do need a little bit of PVC glue. I bought CPVC, so make sure your stuff is rated for CPVC. It's just rated for higher temperatures, so it's kind of this cream colored PVC. It's a little smaller diameter PVC on what I'm working with today. But so I bought a little bit of stick of that, and I probably spent 15-20 bucks on all these little parts, but I got way more than I'm going to need. But I'd rather buy more and take back than have to make an extra run to the store. Got a little cutter to cut the PVC up. Got threaded connections, so we're going to need a few of those. An elbow, and then originally I might put in a valve system, but I decided against it, and so I'm just going to put a cap on the bypass side. And so that's what I bought this little collar for, was just so that I could put a cap on the bypass side, because I'm not going to bypass it right now until we get the valve actually replaced. But this is actually all you really need is just an elbow, a little stick of CPVC, a couple of threaded connections, and a cap to cap off the bypass side. So the cap will actually go on this side, and then we'll have this elbow, thread connection, and then we'll just scab in a couple of pieces of the pipe, and that's how we'll build our bypass, or our temporary repair, and then should be good to go. Okay, we've reinstalled the my temporary bypass. You can see from the front here the two pieces here. So this is the bypass off to the side, and you can see the piece coming up. But from the back is where we're all looking at. Okay, so you can see my bypass is here, even released from that, and that is the finished product. I did put in a little coupler here so that I can disconnect that, so this unscrews and the pieces come apart, and that way I can unthread here and unthread here if I need to in the future, but it's not necessary. You can just go straight pipe across, and then if you have to remove it, you'll just have to cut it off in the middle when you're ready to remove it. But this way at least you don't have to have a tool to do it. So that's the finished product. That's what you're looking at. So best of luck with your project.